Welcome, Gunrunner.
Hello everybody, Kieran aka The Laird here, and I have a little hardware review for you today. And those of you who follow my channel may remember me reviewing this little beauty here, the Pong Mini Arcade from Atari and Blaze, which has authentic little paddle controllers on it for up to two players, and the cool little kind of coin button, and yeah, very nice little thing. I did a review of. I very much liked it. Has lots of other built-in games as well, as you can see. 12 classic games, all paddle stuff. So obviously it's got like Breakout, Super Breakout, Warlords, Demons to Diamonds, Street Racer, stuff like that on it. Just pop that back in the box. So yeah, that's I won't go into too much detail on that now, but I will link the review I did of it up in the top right hand corner, somewhere here, yeah, for those who want to see that and take a look at it in more detail, because I play some of the games and show it works and all that. But yeah, I also picked up a little while later the Mini Arcade 2. It was actually a Christmas present, I think it was, from my wife. I've had it ages, but I keep forgetting to review it. And I was sorting out a cupboard the other day and found it in that cupboard and went, oh yeah. So it got stuck in a cupboard and I'd forgotten about it. So here it is. Better late than never, I suppose. So as you can see, this is number 2. That was number 1. This is number 2. Mini Arcade obviously promotes Centipede on the front, but this one has just 5 classic games. I assume that was because obviously they plan to do more with different game selections on them, and I could have sworn there was an Asteroids one, but I've just been doing a quick search online and I can only seem to find these 2, so it seems these are the only 2 that exist. I could have sworn there was a third one. I must be imagining it or thinking of something else, because there's so many of these little mini arcade things now. Out and about. I've looked at a couple on my channel previously. Like there was one that had like loads of clone games on that, like a mini arcade machine, that I looked at. But there's also loads of others. Most notably the My Arcade range, which have proved quite collectible. So let's move that out of the way for a moment, just so we can look at this. So you can see some of the side art there. We'll take a look at that in a moment. So the 5 classic games: Centipede, Yar's Revenge, Sprint Master, Gravitar Adventure. So quite a random selection, and there is no Asteroids there. And I'm still convinced I saw an Asteroids one, so I must be losing the plot. Or maybe it's not available anymore, I don't know. But there we go, full colour 2.8 inch screen, arcade stick or D-pad controller, go into that. Features there, so obviously fully backlit, takes batteries or micro USB, and has a headphone jack as well. So there's nothing more to do on the other side. So let's open it up. Oh. Does help if I don't drop everything. So there we go. Let's just say that first. That's the little screw-in stick. So we can go. There we go. So you can see there's a little screw hole on it, and we can put that in there for the authentic arcade experience. So there we go. Not a bad little thing. It's quite strong. So it's got a metal rod on it, so you won't snap it too easily. So there we go. So there's the side art, which is quite cool. I quite like the way they've done that. It's really nice. On the back we have volume up, volume down, and the headphone jack. On the bottom there's our battery slot. I think it takes 4 AAs, was it? I think it was. And like the Pong, on the front it has the that's the on-off button, but that's looks like a coin reject button that you'd get on an arcade machine back in the day. We'll have a look at the actual thing in more detail in a moment, and we'll attempt to play it, which is not always easy when you've got camera. But we do have an instruction booklet as well. Not that it's really needed, which has instructions for each game and tells you how to tells you how controls work and stuff like that. If you really need to know all of that stuff, I think it's all pretty self-explanatory. There we go. Let's stick that over there. There is 4 buttons. Go back to the front a minute. So there's 4 buttons there. There is also reset, select and start. You might be saying, why do Atari 2600 games need 4 buttons? But then you have to remember that you, as well as obviously you've got start, select, reset there, but you have to remember that there are 2600 games that use difficulty switches as well to change options. So that's why, hence why you've got 4 buttons. You had your black and white switch, you had your difficulty switches, which on a lot of games did extra functions. So they've got to make sure they cover all the bases. Now, I remember a lot of people saying the same about the flashback handheld and saying why did it have 6 buttons, and when I pointed out that you could use it for the difficulty switches and all of that stuff, they were like, oh yeah. So there we go. So that's the unit. Nice little thing. Cool colour scheme. Obviously nice Atari logo. Sticks good. There we go. Buttons and the coin thing, all very nice looking. Pretty good build quality as well. And I suppose now I should show you the games. So I'm going to try and get this in a position where you can not only see the screen, but there's not anything reflecting off it, which I found really difficult. When I did the Pong one, I tried all sorts of different places. And it wasn't ideal. I did find a way of getting some sort of view on it. So I'm going to try the same again now. So let's see how we go. Okay, so just spent about 10 minutes messing around, trying to find a place where the light works, where there's not too much reflection. There's still a little bit, but it's not too bad. So now hopefully you can get a better view of the screen. So there we go. Venture, Centipede, Sprint Master, Gravatar, Yar's Revenge. So a real mix of stuff, because obviously early we've got, you know, the legendary adventure, early game. I've never been a fan. I think it's one of those games you had to play at the time. By the time I got a 2600 Junior in the late 80s, it seemed a bit primitive. Centipede Classic came with my Atari 2600 Junior. Nice little port of the arcade game. Gravatar, another arcade port of a Vector game. Very good actually. Very good port, underrated. Yar's Revenge, another classic original game. And last of all, Sprint Master, which is basically a conversion of the Super Sprint arcade game with a slightly different name, because the funny thing is that Atari owned the Sprint franchise. That's Atari Corporation owned the Sprint franchise that started with the original Sprint 1, Sprint 4, Sprint 8, all those games. But Atari Games in the mid-80s made their own spin-off versions of Super Sprint, Championship Sprint and Badlands. So both Ataris actually had their own different version of the Sprint franchise. Really confusing. So to capitalise on the arcade games released by Atari Games, Atari Corp came up with Sprint Master, which is almost the same as Super Sprint in many ways. Has different tracks and stuff like that for the Atari 2600. Very clever indeed. So let's have a look. Let's go to Centipede, because that's the kind of main game here, I suppose. Start. Is that the one? So there we go. There's the classic intro screen for Centipede. We go start. That's volume down. I'm going to move too much, but I just want to kind of show you So I'm about to die because I'm not moving the stick around. But there we go. You can kind of see what it's about. So the screen quality is very nice actually. Sound quality is pretty decent as well with that little speaker on the back. So here's Adventure. Have to press reset. Oh no, that resets the whole unit. Also you can select a game. Oh, there we go. So there we go, there's Adventure. Move a little block around. The first ever RPG as we know it. There we go, that's that one. Gravatar. There we go, nice title screen. Does help if you can see what you're doing, which is quite hard. Trying to get it onto a more interesting screen. There we go. We've got to take out the bases basically. It's quite cool. The early predecessor of Thrust games really. I mean obviously it was an evolution of Lunar Lander in itself, which is the first Thrust game, but stuff like Thrust, which is the one I think everyone knows really well. I mean that was an evolution of Gravatar. So pretty important game in that respect. A lot of people seem to know Thrust better than they know Gravatar, which is a shame because obviously Gravatar is the original game. Here's Yar's Revenge. I think we all know what that looks like. There we go. Quite cool. I'll show you each game, I might as well, got plenty of time. It won't be a long review. And there's Sprint Master, which has quite cool music. Don't get many Atari 2600 games in music, so it's quite nice to see her. There you go, you can select your tracks. Yeah, it's race around the course and smash into stuff, which is what I'm doing at the moment. Try and beat the other car around the track. And that's it really. Quite a cool little game. So, in terms of what I think of it, what's here is good. I mean, you've got 5 classic games. All the games are good. All the games are worth playing. So, real mix of stuff because you've got some of the earliest titles like Adventure and late titles because Sprint Master didn't come out till like 1988, I believe, 88 or 89. So it's actually a really late title for the 2600. So you've got a real gap in the years that they came out, but it's quite nice in terms of, you know, it's quite well done. It looks nice. It's good build quality. The stick works well. The pad works well. The buttons are responsive. But 5 games does feel a little bit stingy when the Pong one had 12 on it. As like I said, I can only assume it's because they were going to do more of these with different games on. I think that was the plan, I thought there was more. So I might have to have a more in-depth search. But if you've seen others, then obviously please let me know. But yeah, it's a decent little thing. It's quite nice, collectible. I can't see myself playing it much though because I've got all these games in so many different places, and I usually play them on my flashback handheld. That's my go-to really for Atari 2600 games, although I've also got my Evercade now, of course, as well, which Blaze did as well. So if you don't know about the Evercade, I'll link that up in the top right hand corner as well. So I've done a review of the Evercade, but that has all these games on it as well, so I can play them that way as well. there's so many different ways I can play these games now, so it kind of renders this a bit pointless in many ways. But it is a nice little thing. I'm not saying it's bad. And if you like collecting these mini arcades, then it is worth getting. And that about sums it up, really. Thanks for watching my review. I've been Retro Laird, and I'll see you all again for another one very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.